In the port city, at least 44 people are dead, including 9 firefighters. More than 500 are injured. Authorities say they pulled back from the fire because they don't know enough about what chemicals they're dealing with here. Aerial video from a short time ago shows the black smoke still billowing from that site. Many people say they thought it was an earthquake. CNN spoke with one witness just about 30 minutes ago.
I'm about 1 to 2 kilometers away from the blast site, and we woke up to the first blast and went to check out what was happening, of course, at the window, and saw a huge explosion. We have line of sight from where it happened. There's only a few buildings in the way, and the shock wave just blew through our apartment. It blew out the glass. It blew out the doors. It just knocked everything over. We knocked out the power. It has really damaged a lot of the buildings in my complex that were facing that side, and other complexes that were facing other directions.
Tianjin is one of the most populous cities in China, home to more than 10 million people. It's just to the southeast of the capital, Beijing. Will Ripley is there.
When you look around at all the devastation here, it's really remarkable. One, just all of the damage that was done to this convention center building. The windows smashed in, the doors smashed in as well. Take a look at this car. It clearly caught fire. The windows smashed. It's crumpled to bits. And we are standing 2 kilometers from the blast site. We're not even close to the epicenter. That gives you a sense of just how strong this was and how scary this was for the 15 million people who live here in Tianjin. When they were jolted out of bed overnight, a lot of people in those apartment blocks we visited earlier, and many of those windows are smashed. There's shards of glass piled up on the ground, and people were running outside in a panic. They didn't have time to put on their shoes, and so they were barefoot going through this, and that's why we see so many people, hundreds of people in the hospital, a lot of them with cuts because of all of the broken glass. You can see there are helicopters in the air flying overhead and looking at that gigantic smoke plume, which you can kind of make out through the haze off in the distance. The fires are still burning right now, as they have been since the initial chemical fire, then the first explosion, then the second explosion, and so on. The air has a thick chemical smell, and we actually feel it a bit in our throats. We wonder exactly what it is that we're breathing in right now, even though most of the people that you see out here are not wearing masks. Either they didn't have time to grab any, they just don't have any. We saw some police and medical personnel with masks. That's about it. We were over at the hospital earlier. It was a very emotional, very sad scene. We actually have security here telling us that we need to move out of the way, and that was an issue that we ran into at the hospital earlier. Security and onlookers were not happy that we were filming, and we were told to stop. I was actually knocked off the air and surrounded by a pretty angry mob. And these are people who've gone through so much. They haven't slept. Some of them have loved ones who are sick in the hospital. At least one man had a loved one who had died, and emotions are high right now.